Few settlements in early North American history transformed as dramatically as New Amsterdam in the 17th century. We usually think of it as a brief prologue, a modest Dutch trading post that simply became New York. The reality was far more layered and tense. Before the English arrived in 1664, Manhattan Island was already under constant strain. Economically, culturally, geopolitically. None of those pressures alone would have rewritten the island's future. It was their convergence, the clash between European commerce, indigenous relationships, and colonial rivalries that pushed everything toward inevitable change. Once the old ways of coexistence began to crack, restraint collapsed. Defense became the priority. Efforts to hold on to Dutch control only hastened the handover of power. In the end, a new order arrived, but it arrived forever altered. And those alterations did not stay confined to the island. Their patterns carried forward, shaping how port cities grow, how territories are negotiated, and how global trade turns small outposts into centers of power. What you're about to step into isn't just a forgotten village, it's the seed of a pattern that still defines many coastal cities today. We start at the forest's edge in the early 1600s, along Manhattan's wooded shoreline. Tall trees crowd close to the water. Their shadows stretch across the ground as gentle waves lap the bank. Dutch traders stand beside open wooden chests. Inside lie metal tools, folded cloth, glass beads, and small stacks of coins, everyday items in Europe, prized here. Across from them, Lenape traders approach quietly. They carry tightly bound bundles of furs. Beaver, otter, mink carefully prepared. The exchange unfolds slowly. Hands point, goods are lifted, weighed by touch, set down again. No raised voices, no show of force. For the Dutch, these furs mean profit, cargo, and return voyage, a thread connecting this remote shore to European markets. For the Lenape, trade fits into an older rhythm, guided by seasons, mutual obligation, and deep ties to the land. Neither side grasps how lasting this encounter will prove. You hear quiet voices, shifting leather, water brushing the shore behind them. This is where New York begins, not as a city, but as an agreement. Now we lift above the settlement. From this height, New Amsterdam looks small, almost delicate. Wooden houses huddle at the island's southern tip. Roof lines are uneven. Dirt paths twist without plan or symmetry. Thin smoke drifts upward from chimneys and fades into the wide sky. Beyond the houses stretch fields and fences, modest farmland plots, trails worn by repeated feet. Windmills turn on slightly raised ground, their motion calm and steady. At the water's edge, the fort anchors everything. Nature still encircles the place. The settlement has not yet reshaped the land. It is only fitting itself to it. We descend to street level. A Dutch man nails a paper notice to a tree beside the wall. It declares the boundary, the rule, where the town ends. A few men pause to read. Others glance as they walk by, already familiar with its meaning. This is how news travels in New Amsterdam. Slowly, physically. Not shouted to crowds, but fixed into the landscape itself. We drift northward and look down at what will one day be called Wall Street. In the 1600s, it is not a place of wealth or ambition. It is a defensive line. A wooden palisade stretches across the island, marking the town's northern limit, built for protection, not prestige. It divides homes and narrow lanes from the open land beyond. Below, the road is quiet and rough. A handful of modest buildings stand close together. People walk, pause briefly, exchange a few words, then continue. Life here follows daylight and weather, not profit or hurry. There is no feeling of future greatness, only caution. We reach the docks of the Dutch West India Company. Ships rest low in the water, moored to weathered wooden piers. Sailors move between decks and warehouses, lifting crates, coiling rope, inspecting barrels that roll across planks. Chains clink. Orders are given short and plain. This is the colony's heartbeat. Sugar, furs, timber, and goods from across the Atlantic flow through these wharves. Every shipment binds this small outpost to distant ports and unknown coasts. The sound here never quite stops. It is labor without ceremony, a harbor linking a tiny settlement to a worldwide network. From the river, we see Fort Amsterdam. Small boats glide past, hulls slicing quietly through dark water. Ripples spread and fade beneath them. In the distance stands the fort, low, sturdy, plain. Cannons point outward, guarding the harbor more than the town itself. The fort is not built to impress. It is built to last. A reminder that this place exists by permission of trade and defense. We follow the canal that will later become Broad Street. Water flows through the center, dark and slow-moving. Boats tie up beside warehouses where men load and unload straight from doorways. Sacks are shouldered, crates are stacked, hands keep moving. This canal is a working thoroughfare. You hear water against timber, footsteps on boards, brief exchanges between laborers. Motion here is steady, essential, unremarkable. We reach the market. Stalls ring an open space, displaying fish, bread, tools, cloth, and daily necessities. Residents pass between them, speaking Dutch, English, and other languages carried across the ocean. Merchants, workers, families. The market is where the colony feels most alive. Voices overlap. Children slip between adults. Bargaining rises and falls. This is a small settlement, learning how to behave like a city. Nearby, an open green space breaks the tightness of the buildings. People stroll, pause, gather for a moment before moving on. Children play while adults talk quietly nearby. This patch offers something rare: breathing room, a shared ground in a growing town. It is winter. Snow blankets the ground and muffles every sound. Families gather outside a building to mark the new year. Men, women, and children stand together, wrapped against the cold. There is no grand display, no formal rite, only shared presence. Breath clouds the air. Laughter rises briefly, then fades. This is ordinary joy, quiet, human. Peter Stuyvesant was the last Dutch Director General of New Amsterdam. He governed with strict discipline and strong conviction, deeply committed to order and authority. Under his rule, the colony expanded, but internal divisions grew sharper. In 1664, English ships entered the harbor. No battle took place. Articles of surrender were signed. New Amsterdam became New York. The handover was peaceful, but final. The city changed rulers, not its essential character. Inside a Dutch colonial tavern, men sit at worn wooden tables. They drink, talk, argue, listen. Pipe bowls glow softly. Mugs rise and settle again. Taverns are where news spreads and opinions form. The sound is low and steady. This is where public life continues after the day's labor ends. New Amsterdam was small, practical, and unfinished, yet inside it lay the foundations of a global city.